attitude probably ain't too good for you. Your mama said to stay away from me. But baby, love is blind. Stop trying to read my mind. I know you think you're in control, but soon you'll walk the line. Kiss me in the dark and tell me things you never told to no one else.
Hey everybody, Chris J here from Bluecoat Foundation's Fallen But Not Forgotten podcast. You just heard a little snippet of Peyton Howie's newest single, Troublemaker. Peyton has played a few tribute songs for us live and on Facebook. So at the end of this interview, we're going to play that in its entirety. Today we're going to interview the son of a fallen officer. Fallen police officer Paul Verna was shot and killed during a traffic stop on Thursday, June 2nd, 1983. His son later became a police officer, followed in his footsteps, and he has a lot of great messages, a lot of positivity, a lot of things he learned from the memory of his dad, from his own memory, and a lot of what his father's friends and coworkers told him about his dad. So I think Bryce has a great message for any young children who have lost their mother or father in the line of duty. Bryce is an all-around great guy, great copper. So here goes. Here's our interview with Paul Verna's son, Bryce Verna. Hey Bryce, how are you?
What's up, Chris?
Everything good with you?
Living the dream, brother.
Sweet, sweet. So, let me see here. Today we're here to talk about your dad, Paul Verna. And I have a bunch of questions here, but what do you want to tell us about your dad?
I was an amazing human being, well-loved, well-respected by just everyone pretty much, on the job, away from the job. I still, to this day, 45 years later, someone that just interacted him with a few minutes will come up to me or find me or contact me out of the blue. There's people on our job that became police officers because my dad made that impact with them for random stuff, and just try to emulate that as best as I can.
How much time did he have on when he passed away?
About 15 years.
Oh, okay.
So yeah.
Wow.
And had done vice patrol, and then became a motor officer, and actually for 364 days became a LA fireman, and wasn't for him, came back to LAPD.
Oh wow, very cool.
That's how he won the Medal of Valor too. There was a burning building house actually in the Devonshire division, and his skills of learning from the fire department actually saved
so
kids.
Cop,
as a police officer, him and his partner went into a burning building, saved a bunch of kids and pulled them out.
I wonder if there's back then there was the every time cops and firemen have this supposed rivalry.
Nothing but love, brother.
Which is true, but not. I wonder if it was happening back then.
Yeah, it's a tough gig, man. Yeah, and it's not for everyone. Yeah, I don't know if I could do it because I spent quite a bit of time with the fire department, and man, they don't have an easy job. A lot like us, just a whole different
kind of
ball
tough.
of wax, man.
Yeah. How old were you when your dad passed away?
I was 9 years old.
Oh, okay.
So,
so you knew him, you remember him and everything.
I have some memories, not a lot. And my poor brother, he was 4 or 5, and he hardly has any. And I feel bad for my brother because he doesn't really have anything.
Right.
And even mine are few and far between. I mean, just little snippets of stuff. So
from what you remember and from what you hear from others, who was Paul Verna, not the police officer?
Good father, good husband, very involved in Little League. I mean, basically apple pie and ice cream, Eagle Scout, military, police officer. I have never, ever, and I'm just, because it's not me, but I have never, ever heard a bad word about him. He was that guy that, and this is where I try to emulate is put a smile on people's face, be cool to everyone, no matter if it's the janitor or the multimillionaire. Treat everyone with respect or how you'd want to be treated. What you see is like how I'm talking. This is exactly like me on a traffic stop. This is like me on a call. That's how he was, and very known for being funny. Being a jokester, clowns. You know, and I've heard the stories and some good ones.
Very cool.
So yeah, that's best way to describe him.
How did you and I meet? I forget. I know it's through the nonprofit. Something came up.
How did we meet? That's a good question. I don't know. I actually don't know. It's been probably 3 or 4 years, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, I know.
Maybe even longer.
I know it was through the nonprofit.
Yes.
Either somebody turned me on to you or something like that. But
I think he just had some questions, and we met up in, I believe, Hollywood.
At a cafe in Hollywood.
Yeah.
You definitely give that off, just being nice to everybody. I remember that. I see it. So that makes sense, and that's awesome.
Yeah.
You learned that from your dad, I guess.
I hope, man. I think what I tell people is this too, is if what hadn't happened in my life, like how would I have turned out? Like it gave me a goal to strive for, if that makes sense. Like if events hadn't happened in my life, you know, how I would have turned out, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, what path would I have taken or would have made me a better person, or you got to make the best out of what was given to you in life. I mean, you know, it doesn't matter where you grew up, doesn't matter how poor, how rich, education, you have to make those choices in life. And I wasn't the greatest kid, but I never did drugs. I never got arrested or anything like that. And it just, I wanted to be a good person and do the right thing. And I think that's why we do this job, is to do the right thing, help people out, try to be good role models for people, you know?
Yeah, for sure.
So,
are you still connected with a lot of your father's friends and coworkers?
Yes and no. Unfortunately, a lot of them have, passed on.
Right.
And that was, so I'm a motor officer, and it's kind of a small, not cliquey thing, but it's you're part of a group. You're part of an alumni. And when I was a kid and teenager, you know, a lot of those guys had started reaching out to me and basically took me under their wing and were father figures or role models, and it's a special breed to do what we do, because it's a very dangerous job, and you have to have that sense of humor that's how you burn off energy, or, you know, a stressful day, or just the danger of the job and stuff like that. And so I would say to answer your question, a good proportion of those people have passed on, but I still keep in touch with numerous of them that are still here.
So from talking to them over the years and growing up, who was Paul Verna, the police officer?
That I wouldn't be able to tell you because I don't really know those stories. I just know the funny stories.
That's perfect.
And
like at work, right?
Yeah. Was always trying to put a smile on people's faces. Always, you know, the laughter in the room, jokester, prankster, things of that nature. So I do know those.
That counts. If you
totally. Yeah.
If you have somebody like that at work, in a job like ours, that's huge. I think
it doesn't matter if you're flipping burgers, pulling weeds, or at a CEO of a company. Your environment and coming to work, enjoying work, having fun. And I always say, you know, having a smile or making someone laugh is the cheapest medicine.
Yeah,
it's free, doesn't hurt, and everyone should be smiling or laughing. There's nothing in this world that you cannot overcome, whether it's a girl, a boy, money, health, things of that nature. You know, there's nothing that's in this. I mean, this is random and tangent, but like, you know, suicide or stuff like that. There's nothing you can't come back from.
Right.
And you try to instill that in people. You know, no matter how low you get, there's something for you that can take you out. And that's where I go back to laughter. Laughter is the easiest, best medicine you could possibly give someone.
That's huge. I mean, I look at your dad's picture.
Yes.
You know, I kind of did a little research, and nobody, you can't tell that from looking at the picture. Just to hear that, it's really nice.
Yeah.
So, do you or your brother wears badge?
I have his badge number. His original badge is a policeman badge, and that's in a shadow box that my brother has. And then my brother had my stepfather's detective badge. He had retired out of robbery homicide for LAPD. So
very cool.
Very cool. Yeah.
So what's the badge number?
A 193. And people always trip out on like why it's so low. So at the time when he had lost his badge, they had started recycling badge numbers. So,
Okay.
I mean, when I came on the job, there was a motor officer. He had badge number 13. So he didn't come on in like 1918. It was
Yeah.
they started recycling badge numbers.
Right.
So yeah. So
That's cool though.
yeah, totally
really
cool.
nice.
Yeah.
So some people might think this is obvious, but it might not be. What role did your dad as an officer and his death play in you becoming a cop? Was it always from the beginning or something came about later?
I don't think I really had anything else in mind. You know
Yeah.
what I'm saying? I always tell people that if I wouldn't have been a police officer, I would have been like in hydrology or like meteorology. For some reason, that fascinates me.
The heck is
I-
hydrology?
like the study of water, water flow. I
Okay.
don't know. I can sit at a river and just watch the flow of the river all day long.
Interesting. And there's a study for that?
Yeah, hydrology. I just told you, man.
All right.
I would say, to answer your question, it gave me definitely a goal in life, definitely something to strive for, and that goes back to the whole, how would have my life turned out if the events hadn't unfolded the way they did,
Yeah.
And I went into the Air Force just like my dad was a Boy Scout, got as high as I can, and then went to school. Had a good time, and then came on the job and wanted to be a motor officer, and that's what I did, and I've been doing that for about 17 years. So
Nice.
yeah.
What about after he came on the job? And this might not be a direct question, just kind of just wondering as far as the support you received from either your department, your coworkers who you met, who found out about your dad, or even your dad's friends, family, just anybody, and how has that changed and shifted as you evolved in your, level of mourning, I guess? How's that molded who you are today, in positive or negative?
Yeah.
Angry or not, especially with the situation today. Whatever you want to give us. Like I said, it's not a direct question. I guess I want to know all the influences around you from somebody who loved people who loved your father, or people who loved your story and felt for you. How has that evolved to make you who you are?
That's a complex question, and I'll try to answer that as best as I can. Nothing but positive from the department.
Good.
And it's kind of a trip, kind of hard to explain, but it's stressful in a sense because a lot of people know who I am, and I try not to tarnish that image. Try to actually be a good PR person for the department, the city.
Right.
Paint, my family. I would hate to give my family a negative connotation or a negative image.
Right.
But on the same token, I try to be as cool as I possibly can.
Yeah.
Try to be, you ask my friends and they will tell you I'd give you the shirt off my back. Or I'm radio calls. I used to work South Central.
Yeah.
I buy kids bikes, that their bikes are stolen. I just do cool stuff, man.
Yeah.
And that's a lot of stuff that doesn't get notoriety or anything
Right.
like that. When I became a motor officer, nothing but support from our motor program. Yeah, I think that's, and then a lot of people don't know who I am, and frankly, I don't advertise who I am.
Yeah.
My brother is even way more low key than I am,
Right.
unless somebody asks, unless somebody notices my badge number, unless the name gets brought up. I don't say anything about it. I don't
Yeah.
advertise it. I don't want the attention. I don't want the notoriety. You talked about how the climate is in this day and age. It's very unfortunate, not to get political or anything like that. I've had this conversation with numerous people. They ask me about a particular incident that's happened across the country.
Yeah.
It would be like me prejudging somebody by the car they drive, the color of their skin.
Yeah.
Monday morning quarterbacking something that I wasn't there for.
Right.
And on the same token, the hypocrisy, the judging of me for the uniform that I represent,
Yeah.
know nothing about me, blanket statement us as a profession.
Yeah.
I will tell you, in the almost 22 years I've been a police officer, never been a part of a conversation, never been never heard a conversation, never been a part of planning guns, beating somebody up. Let's hurt somebody. Let's go out and shoot somebody today. I think 99.999% of all police officers, if they were any part of that, would say something, do something.
100%.
It's frustrating because, like I said, it's absolute ignorance to think that just because of who you are or who you represent, you're part of the problem, you know. And people ask, like, I go back to the incidents of what's happened. I can't tell you what was going through their mind, what was said, the environment, the videos, or anything else, without being there and without being in that time and being there. And I saw a meme a couple weeks ago, and it best describes it. It's a police officer sitting on a bench, and the quote is something like, sports, high definition cameras, slow-mo to the nth degree, playback, and everyone has a 2 cents if it was a score or a shot that went. We don't have that luxury, you know. We just have body cameras, and we're not robots. We have to make split-second decisions that can be life or death as a human being. And we're not getting rich off of it, and we don't want to.
Nope.
You're not worth my livelihood, my family. You know, if you have wife and kids, to go out and break the law, violate your rights, or anything else. I know I got in this crazy tangent about stuff, but I have this conversation with people all the time. And the fallacy of that, we're just running amok out there and just killing people or beating people up just for the hell of it it hurts. It sucks. And it's a total bummer, man.
Yeah, I've had these conversations with people that I'm very close to, and I really have to just take a breath sometimes.
Yeah, it's a bummer, man.
Yeah, it's interesting, but I mean, a lot of guys and girls I've seen them rise above in the sense where people would say, well, let's not write tickets anymore. Well, what about the blue flu? All those little conversations that coppers are having, you know, part of it is they're venting, but everybody's like, no, it's not these people's fault. We're not going to do that to them.
Yeah.
You know, so it goes back to the humility you're talking about. You know, when you gave, you know, we said you bought bicycles for kids who got their bikes jacked and, you know, in the hood.
Yeah.
You know, you don't put that out there.
No.
Right?
It's what we do, man.
Yeah, and that's not to take away from your humility, but that's how most cops are. And we've always been attacked or second guessed. It's just on such a high level now that it's affecting the safety of our jobs that it's frustrating, like I say.
And morale,
scary.
man. And morale.
Huge.
This is the worst I've seen it in, like I said, almost 22 years.
I think that's what everybody right now is saying, for sure. For sure.
And unfortunately, the doing the cool stuff doesn't sell in the news. I mean, okay, someone bought a bike or helped an elderly lady walk across the street.
Yeah.
They want to see the drama, the breaking news of the riots, or someone getting their ass beat, or I mean, it's,
when social media first came out and coppers would put in their own little groups, look what I did today and stuff. I would be in the group where, like, just shut up, don't put it out there. Like, how embarrassing, just do your job.
Yeah.
But after years, it's like, well, if no one's going to give us that, and in our own little circle, we give ourselves that, there's nothing wrong with that. So now I look at it a little differently for sure. So I appreciate it, actually.
Yeah, I would say what's going to change finally is the silent majority. And every day I have people like whispering to me or pull up to next to me at the stoplight and thank you for your service. You know, like, it's not the cool thing to do, and you don't want to be a celebrity and be all pro police or anything. It's so at some point there's got to be a turn, and support rather than the hate or the defund or all that kind of stuff. At some point, the silent majority hopefully speaks up for us.
For sure. Let me just transition a little bit here.
Got on a crazy tangent.
No worries. So our nonprofit, very, very grassroots. So we do a lot of things just from our social media and try to get attention out there. Something that we haven't done in 2 months, and really it's because of the time and all the COVID deaths. I haven't had the time to do this certain thing, which is every end of the month I'll honor the fallen officers of that month, say their names, put some music out there.
Yes.
I've just been so behind, and I feel bad, so I wish I had some help. But as I do that, it really I count how many has passed away, how many wives or husbands are left behind, how they passed away, and the thing that always gets me, because when I'm going through it, I do little tic tac counts. I think that's what you call them, and when it comes to the children, it's always 15, 20, 25 children.
Yeah.
So I guess what I'm trying to ask is, because of your history, if there are any children, teenagers who are listening to this, who have recently lost a mother or father in the line of duty, it doesn't have to be this crazy deep message, but just, if you were in a room with them, and what would you tell them?
That's a tough one, man.
Sorry.
No. This is no easy questions here, buddy. So I would say this is I was kind of an asshole kid when I grew up. I had a lot of anger issues, and at 10 years old, you don't know how to cope, adjust.
Right.
Had a lot of counseling, and I'm not afraid to admit that. I mean, if you didn't lose a spouse, a loved one, or anything like that, and didn't go to counseling, no matter what your age is, there's nothing to be ashamed of. I treated my brother horrible. As an asshole to my mom. Like I said, the anger issues. I would say nothing wrong with talking to anybody, and that doesn't mean counselor or anything else. I mean, if you have questions or concerns or anything, I would say, and this goes back to my last thing, everything's going to be okay. You will survive. You have loved ones. You have people that miss your loved one, and should carry on their name and their remembrance. For forever.
Yeah.
Awesome. Did that explain?
You tell me.
I don't know.
That's good, man. So just wrapping it up here a little bit. So just knowing you for a few short years, you're not lying about who you are.
Not at all.
You're a good guy.
Thanks, brother.
When I do my events and I'm losing hair because they're so stressed, you call and you offer everything.
I try, brother.
And I'm 100% sure that's a direct reflection of who your dad was.
That's awesome.
And he wore the badge that we both wear. And I'm honored to have come across your path.
Thanks, Chris.
And
can I give a shout out
100%
for Justin Larson?
Yes, sir.
He's a tattoo artist that assisted with one of your events for tattooing, and he passed away, unfortunately, a couple months ago. And very close friend of mine, total bummer, and just want to give a shout out to him.
Of course, sorry to hear that. He was awesome. I communicated with him.
Yeah.
And when he didn't call me back right away, he would totally apologize. And I'm like, you're doing me a favor. He for people that don't know, we do a tattoo event every year called Inked in Honor, where we donate large tattoos, fallen officer themed tattoos, to friends, partners, families of fallen officers. And Bryce introduced me to his friend, and his friend pretty much donated large tattoo, and that's unfortunate to hear.
And no questions asked and I got other bummer news. Adam Guy, after 25 years of service, in the tattoo industry, he's having to close his shop because of the Rona, man, and it's been killing him. They can't stay open, and 25 years of any business is slanging ice cream or flipping burgers or being a hotel. It says a lot for the business, and unfortunately he's got to close this month, so it's a bummer too. But he helped out too, and either one of those guys, no questions asked on helping out. So
they made it really easy. So well, thank you for being here.
My pleasure, brother.
And I'm glad we could honor your father and your friend. And if we could get any business to last name's Gallo.
Yeah.
Then I'll do that for you for sure.
All right, brother.
All right, thanks.
Hey, no problem, Chris.
I got that ripped jean attitude, probably ain't too good for you. Your mama said to stay away from me, but baby, love is blind. Stop trying to read my mind. I know you think you're in control, but soon you'll walk the line. Kiss me in the dark and tell me things you never told to no one else. You ignore the signs, look into my eyes. I'll tell you things that you didn't know about yourself. Moonshine dancing, sweet romancing, take you all the places that you shouldn't go. I promise I'm no cheater, I'm no liar, but you should know I got that ripped jean attitude, probably ain't too good for you. Your mama said to stay away from me, but baby, love is blind. Stop trying to read my mind. I know you think you're in control, but soon you'll fall in line. I'm a troublemaker, wreaking havoc like a hurricane. I'm a troublemaker, raising hell, that's my middle name. As cute as you are, I'll finesse your heart, and I'll leave no mess when I tear it apart. You act like you don't care, but I'm fully aware of what I gotta do to make you stop and stare. Moonshine dancing, sweet romancing, take you all the places that you shouldn't go. I promise I'm no cheater, I'm no liar, but you should know I got that ripped jean attitude, probably ain't too good for you. Your mama said to stay away from me, but baby, love is blind. Stop trying to read my mind. I know you think you're in control, but soon you'll fall in line. I'm a troublemaker, wreaking havoc like a hurricane. I'm a troublemaker, raising hell, that's my middle name. Moonshine dancing, sweet romancing, I'll take you all the places that you shouldn't go.